Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily is part of the Modern Grower Podcast Network. Check out some of our other shows like Carrot Cash Flow, the Growing Microgreens Podcast, and Farm Small, Farm Smart. Learn more about the shows using the link below. What have you learned about text in the body of your Instagram posts? So we're in a world, we just mentioned this earlier, where people scroll fast. And the image stops them, and then maybe they read, maybe they don't. And you're somebody who actually posts long blocks of text in your Instagram feed. How have you found that that's worked?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I think what I try to do is you have this idea of the classic marketing funnel, right? Where you have top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, sales are coming out at the bottom of that funnel. And so I almost think of, for example, Instagram's a great one because it's my favorite social network for sure. So I think about it more than the others, even though YouTube is definitely more important. So I should probably fix that. But either way, let's say I'm doing an Instagram reel. I really want the reel itself to stand on its own. The caption exists as a bottom of the funnel bonus for those who are more engaged. And so given that framing, the caption should be meatier. It should be more detailed. It should have some more of the nitty gritty, less interesting, quote unquote, stuff. Because if you weren't interested in it, you weren't going to read it anyways, no matter what it said. You'd scroll on to the next reel or the next video, the next post. And so for those who are, I think the caption is that sort of, hey, look, you really care about this? Okay, here's how I spaced that pumpkin. Here's how I pruned it. Here's how I fertilized it. And here's some problems I experienced. Some of the really detailed stuff that really is what serves the mission, because that's really teaching people how to grow.
For people who are doing educational content, I'm sure you see a lot of people who I don't want to say are doing it wrong, but you maybe think they're shortchanging themselves in terms of how they're presenting their material on a platform like Instagram. And you have an education-focused brand. What do you think are some of the keys to educating on a platform like Instagram?
Something I think a lot of people do wrong is they assume too much about the audience or the people watching. So they assume that these people watching know every piece of terminology that they know. Obviously, that's not true. If you're educating, by definition, they would hopefully know less than you or aspire to know as much as you. So to me, I try to speak in plain English, or if I'm going to define a term, I will define it. I'll say, oh, this means a tomato stem has totipotency along the whole stem. And I'll say, basically, all that means is it has the ability to produce roots kind of wherever. And so is that the botanically perfect definition? It's not, but it's close enough that it doesn't really matter for the end watcher, that they get the point. And as long as I plain Englishify any real terminology I'm using, I think that's really smart. I think that it's this idea of sell them what they want, give them what they need. And so you could think of the whole Instagram format as something highly engaging to make them watch it, so that they then come out the other end having learned something as a byproduct of just consuming the content. It's a nebulous phrasing there, but that's how I think about it.
Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower. Modern Grower is the go-to source for 100% organic, GMO-free microgreen seeds. Trusted by hundreds of growers for high quality and low prices. If you're growing microgreens, start saving at shop.moderngrower.co.